Alright, hai, Assalamualaikum. Okey, saya faham. Mungkin dalam video yang sebelum ni, which is yang saya punya live video, tak berapa jelas. Okey, dari segi apa yang ada dekat whiteboard tu. So now, saya buat video lagi satu untuk explain. Okey, apa yang kita belajar untuk hari tersebut lah. Okey, first thing, dalam kelas tu, saya cover tentang pressure change that take place in the heart during cardiac cycle. So here is the diagram. Okay, here is the diagram. So for the graph pressure, we need to know recorded for three different parts in heart. Okay, first is atria, the blue color line, and then red color line is for the ventricle, and then the green is for aorta. So you need to know total is 5 points. A is represent sinoatrial node generate impulse. Okay, so A represent atrial systole. Atrial systole. Okay, why the atrial systole? Because generation of impulse by SA node. So during atrial systole, atrial contract, pump blood to the ventricle. So at point number 1 here, it shows the ventricle pressure is higher compared to atria. Okay, the pressure in ventricle is higher than atria. So to prevent backflow of blood from ventricle to atria, at number 1, AV valve close. AV valve close. And then the recoil of blood is again closing of AV valve produce loud sound. Okay. And then at point number 2, what happened here is ventricular systole. Ventricular systole. Ventricle pump blood. Okay. Ventricle contract and pump blood. So for left ventricle, it may pump blood to aorta. So here we can see that the pressure in ventricle higher, and then ventricle need to pump blood to aorta. So that at point number 2, semilunar valve open. Okay. At point number 3, okay, the blood already entered the aorta, causing the pressure in aorta higher than pressure in the ventricle. So at point number 3, semilunar valve close. Semilunar valve close. Why? To prevent backflow of blood from aorta to the ventricle. And at this point 3, the second sound produced ndap. Why? Because the vibration of the semilunar valve when it closed. And then the ventricle, the pressure drop because at point number 2, point number 3, this situation in cardiac cycle, the sequence adalah ventricle diastole dah. So bila ventricle diastole, so the pressure drop. At point number 4, ini pun menunjukkan atrial diastole juga. Okay, for 3, 4, ini menunjukkan stage ketiga, atrial and ventricular diastole. So what happened at point number 4? Both atria and ventricle relax and receive blood. So that at point number 4, AV valve open. Okay, so point A, atrial systole. Point number 1, pressure in ventricle higher than atrium. So AV valve close. Loud sound. Point number 2 here is refer to ventricular systole. So semilunar valve open. At point number 3, atrial and ventricular diastole. At this pressure in aorta higher than ventricle. Semilunar valve close. Second sound produced. Ndap. Okay. And then finally at number 4 still in stage 3, atrial and ventricular diastole. So at point number 4, AV valve open. Okay. Next, okay, is about the ECG, electrocardiogram, that recorded the impulse generated by SA node. So this ECG, okay, has P wave, QRS wave and T wave. Okay, ada 3 tempat yang penting. P wave, QRS wave and T wave. So P wave indicate depolarization of atria or atria depolarized. Okay, why atria depolarize? Okay, first, atria is in relaxation. Okay, relax. Dia diastole. After that, SA node generate impulse. Then impulse spread to both atria. So here, when the atria receive impulse, they call depolarized. So P is referred to atria depolarized. Then after impulse spread to both atria, the impulse will delay at AV node for 0.1 second. So this is referred to the flat graph here. Okay. And then the impulse will travel to bundle of his bundle branches, Purkinje fiber at the head apex and cause the ventricle depolarize. Means that cause the impulse spread to both ventricle. So the QRS refer to depolarization of the ventricle or ventricle depolarize. Okay, so what happened to the ventricle? It may contract and pump blood. Okay, and after that, uh, after the ventricle systole, okay, it must be the next stage lah, which is ventricle diastole. After they contract, they mesti back to relax. So untuk back to relax, dia kena mengalami repolarization. Maksudnya dia kena back to relax lah. Okay, so point ini menunjukkan bahawa beginning of ventricle repolarization, and then the T wave indicate that the ventricle is totally repolarized. Maksudnya dia dah berada dalam keadaan relax. No electrical signal. Okay. Next thing that I've discussed is about lymphatic system. Okay, for lymphatic system is a system of vessel and lymph nodes separate from circulatory system. Okay, dia berbeza daripada sistem peredaran darah. Kerana apa? Sebab dia bukannya sebab apa ni dia punya function dan juga komponennya adalah berlainan. So this lymphatic system consists of lymphatic vessel. Bila kata lymphatic vessel, kena ada dalam kepala. Lymphatic vessel ni ada lymphatic capillary, okay, lymphatic vessel, ada lymphatic duct dan ada kat situ juga tempat yang paling penting adalah subclavian vein lah. Okay, so bila kata lymphatic vessel, kita ada lymphatic capillary, kita ada lymphatic duct, kita ada lymphatic vessel. Okay, and then when we talk about organ, ada 5 organ here: bone marrow, tonsil, thymus, spleen, and lymph nodes. So you need to know the function of every single one of these organ. Okay. For lymph, okay. Lymph is the fluid that found in the lymphatic vessel. So kalau kita jumpa, kalau cecair yang berada dalam lymphatic capillary, we call F as lymph. Okay, the fluid that found in lymphatic vessel, lymphatic duct, we call it as lymph. So this lymph, apa dia punya composition? Water, gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, lymphocyte is white blood cell, hormone, and waste product. Okay, and here is the 3 main function of lymphatic system. First is to maintain fluid balance by returning interstitial fluid to the blood. Okay, maintain fluid balance by collecting and returning interstitial fluid to the blood. Okay, so as you know, our heart, okay, will pump blood to entire body. Okay, left ventricle pump oxygenated blood to aorta, then aorta will channel to artery, and then to the blood vessel, to the blood capillary. So, dia punya pergerakan tu ada tempat yang besar, diameternya besar dan semakin menyempit. So, what happen is it will create hydrostatic pressure. So, this hydrostatic pressure, high hydrostatic pressure, because some element from the blood circulation, dia akan drain out, dia akan terkeluar. Okay, contohnya apa tu yang terkeluar tu? Okay, ini adalah contohnya adalah macam water, gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormon boleh juga. So benda ini terkeluar daripada saluran darah, terkeluar daripada blood circulation. So mereka ni pergi mana? They will be concentrated dekat interstitial fluid. Okay, interstitial fluid. Jadi macam mana nak return back balik? Okay, macam mana nak return back balik? Okay, the things that interstitial fluid. Okay, the things that interstitial fluid. Okay, they may enter the lymphatic capillary. They may enter lymphatic capillary. Okay, and then what is the next? The things which is in the lymphatic capillary now kita panggil sebagai lymph. Then the lymph will be carried to lymphatic vessel. Okay, so to prevent backflow of blood from lymphatic vessel to lymphatic capillary, that will prevent by lymphatic valve. Ada valve. Okay, so next the lymph will carry to the lymph node for lymph to be filtrate. Filter maksudnya kita nak tengok okey ada tak yang tak elok yang dibawa. So kalau tak elok, jangan risau sebab lymph node ada banyak macrophage. Okay, so dia boleh try untuk eliminate the pathogen. And then the lymph carry to lymph duct. Okay, lymph duct we have two, thoracic and right lymphatic duct, and then carry to subclavian vein. At subclavian vein, the fluid will return to blood circulation system. Okay, and then here is the second function of the lymphatic system, which is to absorb lipid from intestine and transport them to blood. Absorb lipid from intestine and then transport them to blood. Okay, so kita tengok dekat sini Okay, lipid is digested into fatty acid and glycerol. Lipid is come from our food lah. Then fatty acid and glycerol enter villi of the small intestine. Dia akan masuk dalam villi. So in villi, the fatty acid and glycerol combine. Then it may form, they may recombine. Okay, the new syllabus fatty acid and glycerol will recombine, and then they will combine with protein to form chylomicrons or lipoprotein. Then this lipoprotein may enter lactate, which is the lymphatic capillary. So in lymphatic capillary, they may mix this lipoprotein will mix with lymph. Now they known as chi. So this chi will transport to the lymphatic vessel. Then it will filter at the lymph node before it carry to subclavian vein by the lymphatic duct. Pathway dia sama. Mesti lymphatic capillary, lymphatic vessel, and to prevent backflow of the lymph from lymphatic vessel to lymphatic capillary is by lymphatic valve. And then the lymph need to be filtered at lymphatic node. Next to the lymph duct, and then last one at subclavian vein. So the third function is for body defense. This we're going to discuss specific on chapter 11.